We'll get started, me and Andy. So we're going to take a look at functions. The beginning of this is stuff we've already done in Python. So this is going to be a quick review. For instance, in the miles to kilometers, notice you define the function. This has a value coming in as an argument, right? So we have to pass a value in. We do a calculation, and then we return it. This is also one of the other things that I have in this thing is doing doc strings. So this is a doc string. There's a description of it. Here's the parameter coming in. Here's the return going out. So it's a summary of the function. Well, what good is this? Well, two things. It documents our function. And if I point to the function down here, it tells me. Most IDEs will tell you, oh, that's what I have to pass in. This is what it returns. So you don't have to find the function to know how to put things into it. Right? You don't have to find the function and say, okay, what is I'm supposed to do? Oh, yeah. You can just point at it, like with input, for example. Well, the ones from Python have all kinds of stuff, so they're more complicated. The other thing we can do is, and I didn't do it with this one specifically, but if we do this and then put, that's called type hinting. And what good does that do us? When we point to this, we look up here and it tells us what's incoming is supposed to be a float. And it also gives us what's outgoing is going to be a float. So we have everything we need to know about our function right here. Especially if that function is in another module. Makes programming a lot easier.
I like that whole to-do thing.
Oh, the to-do thing for outlining classes?
I know, yeah, well, it's
Or
important
programs.
to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is. It's important to know what you're doing and important to plan. The rectangle one, not a big deal. It just has two things coming in. So how many parameters can we have coming into an argument? What's the maximum?
2 in that one.
No, I mean, in any function, do we have a limit?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, you can have as many as you want until it gets so confusing you don't know what to do. Right?
True.
Doc strings are denoted by having 3 double quotes. So if I point down here at my calculate area, it brings up my definition and I put the float things in there as the type hinting. So now I may have everything I need to know. It describes what it does and it shows me what I need to put into it right here. So doc strings, type hinting. I didn't think I put type hinting into this one, but I should have. Why is there no formatter installed? Oh, well, we better install a formatter, huh? Oh, I thought it came with it. Python formatter. I think this is the one I use at home, the black formatter. Yeah, there we go. It's been downloaded 3.5 million times, so it's probably pretty decent. So what a formatter does is it makes everything line up nicely, because believe me, I read enough clumsy code, it makes it really hard for me to figure out what's going on. So there's 2 ways you can format a document in Visual Studio Code. Most IDEs will have some method of formatting and make the code line up and look nice. So in Visual Studio Code, you can do it with, oh, I don't know where it is actually. It's somewhere in the menu someplace, but long ago I memorized Alt-Shift, hold down Alt-Shift and press F. See how it lines everything up and makes everything look pretty. I know it's somewhere up here. I just don't ever remember where it is. So it makes everything look nice, and looking nice is important. All right, so we can have multiple inputs. Can we have multiple returns? What do you think? Sure.
Yeah,
Python's one of the few languages where you can return multiple items if you
Right.
needed to.
I was just thinking, I know that there's a certain way you have to do it, though.
You have to return it into something that can hold it, like a tuple, or you have to return it as So for instance, if I was gonna return area and length. Well. It's not gonna like me,
Because you only have,
right? Notice how it says tuple, float, float. It's gonna turn this into a tuple. So I either have to deal with it as a tuple or. I do the same thing on the reverse end. This is the area. I can return the length into this variable. So now I could print out both of them here. We don't use it terribly often, but it is handy once sometimes. So the length is 10. Oh, it's an object float, so that didn't work quite right. Anyway, I think I'll undo all that because we really don't need that very often. Because it's returning it as a tuple. All right, we'll deal with that later. Or not at all. So modules. Modules are fun, right?
mostly,
So the final assignment of this chapter is to create a program that looks kind of like this. You get input, you display the output, all the work happens in your module. So you're going to do a conversion of some sort. See how simple this little program is?
mm-hmm,
Do we have to know what's going on in here? No.
well, yeah. You probably have to program whatever's going on
Well, you have to
there.
program it, but we don't have to know here. All we have to know is what we feed into it and what comes out. And notice it says any to any right now. Is that helpful? Not as helpful as it could be. I need to add type hinting to this, because all it takes is this. The only time you do another type of type hinting is if you're returning a different type of value. Anyway, this is a function, just like a function we put in our program, right? We have to import pi so we can calculate the area of a circle. We're returning the area. We have to import it. Or we can do, which is probably better, to import the specific module. Calculate circle area,
Are we gonna need pi?
built in.
I mean, are we gonna need to import pi on this one, or does it cover from the module?
When you call this function, you carry this value with you. You go over to here, that's the flow.
Mhm.
And it looks around and it says, oh, here's the calculate circle area.
Okay,
I'm bringing in my radius. Pi is imported here because all the work takes place here.
gotcha.
So radius goes in, area comes out. Make sense?
Yeah,
We're not doing any calculations here with pi. When we hit this, it says, where is this thing? It looks up here and it says, oh, it's in this other file.
yeah, it's
And
kind of
so
like you're hopping on a train somewhere else.
You're
and then
hopping on this train, you're doing your work, and then when you pull in at the yard, you unload the area. Yep. Then you take off with your semi truck or whatever. So that's the flow of the code. You jump to the module, do your calculations, and then the return is the area. And now that I added the type hinting in there, we know everything about this function. We know we need to put in a float. We know it's going to return a float. Our description says calculate and return the area of a circle. So we know how to use the function without having to actually be in there. And so this is an example of the final assignment in this chapter. I mean, this module, whatever it is to do a conversion of some sort. But all the conversion takes place here. You get the input. Well, I didn't do input. I hard coded it just for an example. But you get input from the user, make a conversion from something to something. And this is all you're going to have. You're gonna have one more line. You're gonna have an input line. Right? But that's where we want our functions. As we go further in Java, as we go further in C++, we'll do more and more of putting code into separate files because it's more easily manageable. And if you're working with a team, you can say, Andy, you need to work on this guy.
Yeah.
And you know
You
this
do
is the
this
guy you need to
module,
work
you
on.
do that, yeah.
You know that what's coming in as a float, you know that what's going out as an area, you take care of the calculations.
Yeah.
And on the other end, I'm working on this part, All I need to know is that a float goes in, a float comes out, and how this function works. So we can work on the two parts separately because we know what's going between them.
Yeah, I kinda remember us doing that with like the guilds where we're all figuring out how to divvy up the work.
Mhm. We didn't really quite get far enough where we could divide everything into modules there, but that's where we're heading is you could end up with multiple files for a single program. Which makes it easier to troubleshoot. Okay, so now we have modules, we have type hinting. Oh, I do type hinting in here, okay, never mind. I do type hinting in this. Here's a new one,